Master Sergeant Pablo Ruiz III. So if we can please have a moment of silence for my brother and Sergeant First Class Bowser, soldier. Thank you. Again, thank you for having me. It means a lot for me to spend my Memorial Day here in Idaho with you fine folks. It's always a pleasure to talk about the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, and it's also a pleasure to talk with individuals and share my experience as a tomb guard at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. So I'm going to give you a little history of the tomb and what we go through as tomb guards and how we get to the stage of being a Sentinel. I will let you know how I was chosen, and then I'll give you a little history of my experience, my last 2 years in active Army as a tomb guard. If anyone doesn't know much about the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, we have 4 crypts located on the plaza. There's the big crypt, which is World War I. To the far left is the World War II. To the far right is the Korean War unknown, and in the middle is the Vietnam. Out of the 4 crypts we have located on the plaza, one of them is empty. 14 May 1998, we extracted DNA from the Vietnam unknown and found out his name was First Lieutenant Michael J. Blassie of the United States Air Force. Once he was identified, we then took his remains from the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier and we shipped him to St. Louis, Missouri, which is where he is now buried. If you ever watch The Changing of the Guard, you will notice that there's a reef stand that sits directly in the middle on the plaza, and that is where the Vietnam unknown once rests. Now, I've often been asked, do we put another unknown in there? No. The reason why we don't put another unknown in there is once an unknown was selected from each specific war, they represented all the unknowns from that specific war, and all the remaining unknowns was buried at sea. And being a tomb guard is the highest honor in the United States Army. At that time, I did not know that. If you ever watch The Changing of the Guard, you will notice that the guard that's on the mat does not wear a rank on his uniform. There's a reason for that. You will also notice that the guard on the mat always have the weapon to the outside of the mat. The reason why the guard does not wear rank, because we don't know the true identity of the unknowns, you will never ever outrank them as you guard them. And the reason why the weapon is always on the outside is because it's considered disrespectful to walk past the tomb with the weapon facing the tomb. 21 is our magic number. We stand still for 21 seconds. We take 21 steps. 21 represents the highest gun salute. So that's why our number is 21. We do 21 movements, 21 seconds, 21 steps. We have 3 vigorous training phases that you must pass to become a tomb guard, to become a Sentinel. We have a 98% failure rate. The first part of that training is you must be able to recite and write out 17 pages of knowledge word for word. The second phase of that training is uniform. Our shoes alone take anywhere from 4 to 6 hours to shine. Everything that you see on our uniform, we do from scratch. We tailor our own pants, we tailor our blouse. We have 3 different uniforms. We have the overcoat, we have the raincoat, and we also have the blouse. If you look at the pictures that's located to your top left and your top right, I'm in the blouse. That's our blouse uniform that carries all our medals on it. And that is the most decorated uniform that we have, opposed to out of all 3 uniforms that we wear. People often ask me what brings me to the tomb, what took me to the tomb. Now, I can stand up here and I can say, because I always wanted to do it. But then I'll just be saying it because it sounds good. What happened was one day I was walking on post and a first sergeant saw me. He said, Sergeant Skywalker, come here for a second. Come here. Why don't you come on down to the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier? I said, First Sergeant, is that the 24-hour shift? I said, no, First Sergeant, I don't know if I could do that right there. And then he said, come on, just give it a try. I said, I don't know about that, First Sergeant. I said, wait a minute. Can I get promoted? He said, yeah. I said, well, sign me up. So then I get down to the tomb. When I get to the tomb, my first night training on the plaza, when I walked between the chains, my whole life changed. An intrinsic feeling took over me. And then I realized that I was a part of something that's much bigger than me that I did not know. I was no longer there to get promoted. I had no idea how much the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier meant to society. Now, my MOS, I'm a 92 Golf. I'm a food service specialist. Ever since 1958, over 620 badges have been awarded at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. I am the third 92 Golf in history to earn a badge at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. That's an infantry job position. And I've had the blessings to work with the second cook in history to earn a badge at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Now, people ask me what drives me. What are we thinking about when we out there? How do we feel when we're going through all 4 seasons? Well, there's a lot of things that go through our mind. Well, I'm going to start with the winter. The winter time is the toughest. It's the toughest time out there. And it has nothing to do with the weather. As you know, I'm from Chicago, so I should be used to the winter. But when you're out there and you walk in the tomb and you doing your 21 seconds, you take your 21 steps, and you see crowds of people out there when they changing the guard. And when you're on the mat, and once that guard leaves the plaza so you can walk the mat, everybody leaves. That's the toughest part. Because when you out there, you like, oh my gosh, I'm out here by myself. Nobody out here. And you got nothing but the cold winds. And there are times when I was standing up there, I could not feel my fingers. There were times I was standing up there and I could not feel my toes. But what made me feel good is when I had people come to the cemetery and watch the changing of the guard and tears ran down their face. Now, growing up, I always wanted to have an impact on society like Martin Luther King. That's always been my passion, and to this day, that is still my passion. At the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, we get over 3 million people a year. I've served 2 years at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. So I've touched the lives of over 6 million people, and it is a humbling experience. I don't know if you all ever had a chance, how many people have ever had a chance to go out there to experience it, but you're more than welcome to get online and see it. But those that have been out there, they would tell you it's nothing like experiencing up close. I see we have a lot of veterans out here. One of the things that we do when we have veterans, honor flight at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, we do what we scrape our heels. As we walk past veterans, we scrape our heels. Scraping our heels is saluting the veterans. So you, sir, if I walk past you, I will be scraping you. And today, I salute you. It is an honor to be in your presence and the rest of the veterans that's here today. The Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, being a Sentinel, has changed my life. I deployed to Iraq from 07 to 09. I experienced things in Iraq I know I would never talk about. I came back with a bad taste in my mouth. But it wasn't until I went to the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier that I appreciate wearing my uniform more than I ever did. When I was downrange, I saw mud houses with no roof. I saw kids with no shoes. I saw people utilizing the same water they drink out of to wash up in. And then I thought to myself, once my tour is over with and I go back home, I'm gonna get in my bed, I'm gonna take me a nice shower, I'm gonna turn my AC on, I'm gonna turn my heat on, I'm gonna get in my vehicle and go to my destination wherever I need to go. And then it was at that point I realized how blessed I was. How blessed I am to get up in the morning and can go take a nice shower. So today, I take my showers a little different. I no longer take 15, 20-minute showers. I take 10-minute showers because I appreciate the resources that I do have. I love helping others. I thought to myself, I can't imagine tanks driving down my streets or where I live at. I can't imagine people having weapons strapped to them where I live at. And then I realized how blessed I am. That was my lesson when I came back from deployment. But when I went to the tomb, this was my lesson. I came across many veterans, many veterans. And I often go out and I talk to veterans. I love to talk to veterans. So I have 100-year-old, 90-year-olds, 80-year-old vets standing on their feet and they crying, telling me, thank you for my service. No. Thank you for your service. Because without you, there's no me. I can't work backwards. It's a blessing to be in the presence of someone that's 80 years old, 90 years old, and 100 years old that served our country. When I originally joined the service, I didn't join the service to serve my country. And I am happy to say that. I was embarrassed in the beginning to say that. But the reason why I carry so much pride to the veterans, because I say roughly right now for a staff sergeant, I make roughly $6,000. But you talk to a veteran that served in World War I, World War II, they made less than $100, but they served their country with pride. Nothing is better than that. So I don't complain about how much I make. I'm more concentrated on the impact that I have on others. So to be in the presence of veterans is a blessing. And any grandkids out here that have grandparents that serve, trust me, it's best to embrace them and take that moment in, because you can only get that one time in your life. And I just love talking to veterans, because not only are you getting history, but you're getting wisdom. So being a Sentinel gave me more appreciation for my uniform. I left the active duty Army and I joined the National Guard. But even though I'm in the National Guard, I'm United States Army. It's just a different title. It doesn't change. My responsibilities doesn't change. I look at it, being a non-commissioned officer, like being a school teacher. We don't sign up to be a school teacher just to teach. And I hope anybody that signs up to be a teacher know you're not going to be teaching, just teaching. You're going to be someone's mother. You're going to be someone's father. You're going to be someone's uncle. You're going to be someone's teacher. You're going to guide individuals, and that's the same job as a non-commissioned officer when you're leading troops. So when Sergeant First Class Bowers told me about his soldier, I felt his pain. Because as a non-commissioned officer, you don't want to lose a soldier. And it pains me that I lost my brother while here in Idaho, but I know if my brother was alive, he'd tell me to complete my mission. I was given way to head back home, but that's not how I operate. Nothing makes me feel better than to spend my Memorial Day here in Idaho with you all, and it's something I will never forget. I'm going to tell you a story, because people often ask me, how was it being a tomb guard? I'm going to tell you a story, and I'm going to tell you it might make you cry, because it's a very deep and emotional story. We have wreath layings at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. We have stairs where the family members or the school groups or the business or organizations will come down the stairs and will come onto the plaza, and they will put a wreath on the stand for their school or for a family member. Well, this one particular day, I was the relief commander. I was getting ready. I changed the guard. I came downstairs. We have a list of names of school groups who's going to be presenting the wreath that day. So I look at the name. I say, okay, private first class. Okay, I got it. So I head outside. I walk onto the plaza. I go up the stairs. Now, as I go up the stairs, I see a black woman and a black man. As a tomb guard, I'm just thinking, I'm getting ready to give them my brief, let them know what to expect when going downstairs. It wasn't until halfway through my brief I realized that they was laying a wreath for their son who just got killed in Afghanistan. So I'm explaining to him. I said, ma'am, as you go down the stairs, my soldier will meet you with the wreath. He's going to ask you to please place both hands on the wreath. Then you go across the mat, you put the wreath on the stand. During the wreath laying ceremony, we ask that everybody remain quiet. So as we get downstairs onto the plaza, I put my hand out to let the mother and father know where to stop. My soldier walks up to the mother and said, please place both hands on the wreath. When she put both hands on the wreath and he said, please follow me, you heard a loud cry from the mother. And that's the only cry you heard as she grabbed that wreath to put it on the stand. Now, as tomb guards, we are trained to keep ceremonial composure. So emotionally, I was crying on the inside because I can only imagine how that feels. So as the mother heads back to the line and we play taps, once taps is over with, I go around the couple, I go up the stairs, and once the couple gets to the top of the stairs, I say, thank you for allowing me to be a part of your son's wreath-laying ceremony. I headed downstairs. When I headed downstairs, I sent one of my soldiers out to go find the couple to bring them downstairs because we're not allowed to talk while we outside. So when the couple came downstairs and they came in, both of them reached to shake my hand. I said, I don't want a handshake. I said, I want a hug. I said, it's an honor to be a part of that. I don't really know what you're going through. What the mother told me next ripped me to pieces. She told me her son came to her and said he wanted to join the military. She pleaded with him, she begged him not to join the service. And her son is 19 years old. She said, what if you get deployed? You're my only son. And this is what a 19-year-old young man told his mother. He kissed his mother on the cheek and said, Mom, you should have had more kids. But this is my job, this is my duty, this is what I feel I need to do. So a mother's worst fear came to light when she got that phone call and she got that flag delivered to her doorstep. Now I'm 33 years old. That young man was 19 years old. He didn't get a chance to actually enjoy life. But he had more courage than I at the age of 19 to tell his parents he wanted to join the service to serve his country. When she told me that, all I could do is just stand there. And I had tears running down my face. Because as I grew up in the streets of Chicago, I always kept little articles of people that was younger than me or people that was my same age that got killed. And I used to post these articles in my room. My reason for putting these articles in my room was to show how blessed I was to make it out. I am the first on my mother's side of the family to ever get a college degree. I have 3 sisters. I have 1 older sister and I have 2 little sisters. I paved the way for my younger sisters. They both have college degrees. I am the first to be a homeowner. At the age of 17, I buried my mother. She died at the age of 38. It was alcohol and cigarettes that contributed to her death. So as a 17-year-old kid, burying my mother before going on prom was what I had to endure. And once I buried my mother, I had to make that decision, that crossroad that most kids are at when they lose their parents at a young age. Do I want to carry on and continue fighting, or I want to just give up? And I refused to give up. And that's when I left